Welcome to Ballroom Mastery. I'm your host, Vaughan, and in today's lesson, we're going to talk about the dance, the waltz. The most popular dance. It's so much fun. It's a beautiful dance, but one that commands serious time to master. And so I want to help you and I develop the natural turn, a basic figure, but one of the most important foundational figures that drive most of your steps in the waltz. So the natural turn is one of the first figures you'll learn when you learn ballroom dancing. When you learn the waltz, you come to a studio, it's an introductory figure. When you start to make your way through the ranks of dancing from hobbyists to medals, maybe even competition, you'll find that the way the natural turn is developed and the way that we have to use it, not only that continues, but you'll see how fundamentally important it is to make your dancing better. Here's a story from my own personal experience. So I learned the natural turn and the natural spin turn as one of the first figures I did in the waltz. When I went to England, we packed everything up, quit our jobs, sold all our possessions, took our dancing shoes, took our kit, our gear, and our gear capoodle. I was thinking capoodle, but I don't even know what that is. And our dress, everything but our own possessions. We really just wanted to go over there fresh to learn the art of ballroom dancing properly from the legends in the sport. The best of the best coaches live in England. And so we're like, let's go over there and learn. What I found fascinating was when we started making those voyages from Australia to England to learn, you'd think that the knowledge base that we'd be getting would be something, I want to say it's revolutionary, because to me it changed my entire life and perspective on dancing. But you'd think that you'd be doing something different, like you'd be doing crazy figures, choreography, like really advanced stuff. No, it was quite interesting because for like the first few months, we were focusing on the natural turn. We were focusing on the feather in the foxtrot. We weren't doing choreography. We weren't bothered with routines. And so what I took away from that was how much a figure can develop. And this is really important for you to understand, because you may think that your natural turn in the waltz is okay, and it might be, but I believe there's always room for development, right? And my goal for you is not only to help you master your dancing, but for you to feel phenomenal. One of the joys that I have about my job coaching people is seeing and feeling the results that they experience. So as an example, last night I was working with a young lady who really this year is starting to come into her own. It's taken probably 5 years, maybe more, of just grounding in fundamentals. But now she's starting to understand this concept of swing. And she's like, oh, wow, this is a different feeling to what I learned. And here's the example. Most people, when they learn to dance, they're all legs, legs and feet. So they'll be standing in position, basic hold will be very poor, and it will be like 1, 2, 3, step to the side, I close my feet, and I go back, point, and I close. Yeah, that'll be the movement. And then you might get the cowboy dancer who's like, all right, I got this, let's make it a bit more. And then they'll aim to move a little bit more, but they'll be out of balance, poor posture kicks in, right? So what we want to look at doing is understanding this principle of swing. Now, your body is swinging regardless of what anybody tells you. In fact, you cannot walk without your body doing swing of some sort. The difference is in dancing is we're trying to make it a beautiful movement. So everything we do wants to be like a symmetrical picture that, if you were to pause, has a nice line and a nice look to it. In the quote of my coach, Anne Gleaver, it would look balletic. So without further ado, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the natural turn, but let me discuss the idea of swing. First of all, swing is what we call a movement around a point. And so to keep it very simple, right, what we're going to aim to do is to use our body weight differently this week. So you're going to go back into the studio, you're going to look at your dancing, you're going to take the natural turn as an exercise to warm up, but you're going to think about your body generating the energy to move, your body generating the flight required, and you're using your footwork to control that. But your footwork, as I said in last week's episode, is to be mastered, but it isn't the only thing that's occurring in your movement and your dancing. So the body flight has to kick in. So what happens when you go to walk normally is your head leads the movement, okay? That's when you go to walk. You probably don't notice this when you walk down the street, but if you didn't do that, you would be walking like that. You see your legs leading first. So your body has a very natural fall already associated with movement. In ballroom dancing, I always like to say we're doing fancy walking, right? So as we go to generate this movement, we want to let the top half of our body, and different coaches have different ways of approaching this, but it's the same idea. We want to let our body create a fall first, and then our foot to catch that fall. Now, where does the fall originate? And again, this is where coaches have different opinions, but I like what Jeffrey Hearn would talk about. He would say that the head starts the movement. So the head weight itself, sitting on top of the body, is responsible for so much balance and movement. So the head weight initiates the fall. Once you get to a certain point, you have to move. So we're not trying to move the leg first and then the body. That's where a lot of mistakes get made. So in the instance of the natural turn, we know we've got the first 3 steps, which is right foot forward, left foot to the side, and your right foot closes to the left foot. Okay, so in those first 3 steps, that's what the feet are doing. But to move into that better, we're actually going to let the body weight from the head move first, which will then allow us to drive out of the left foot. And our right foot is going to pull our body weight over the leg. So that's the first step. We go out of the left leg from the fall from the head. So that's the beginning of 1. The right foot pulls our body weight forward. Now what happens in waltz at the end of 1 is we rise through the foot. So our body weight will be rising upward. We're not going to be going downward. Okay, big mistake. People will watch YouTube and they'll look at it and they'll think, I've just got to step bigger and I have to lower more. It's like, this is not dancing. That's not the idea. We are lowering from our head weights falling first. We're driving out of the left foot. The right foot pulls the body weight across. Once that happens, we commence the rise at the end of 1. Now, as this continues, our left leg is then going to take our side step, but it's also going to pull our body across. So on step 1, we've got the fall, the drive, and the pull. And then we've got our step, and our left leg is now pulling the body weight. So the pulls the right foot to a close, and then we lower. So it's the actual action of swing that closes our feet, not muscular action. So we're not standing there going close like that physically. And that's again a mistake people make. They're all about the feet. They're thinking foot, I step, then I have to close my legs. You want to reverse it. And now I want your body weight through the principle of swing to close your feet. And so remember, here's how we're doing it. We've got our head weight initiate the movement, so our fall comes through the head. Now, by the way, the head weight isn't leaning forward. And then as that occurs, we drive out of the supporting leg, which would be the left foot in this instance, and then the right foot pulls our body weight forward, and then we continue through that and we swing and close. And then you can go off into the sunset dancing prettily with your partner. So if we try that one more time, all right, I've got my arms in position, nice hold, balanced with my invisible partner, because yes, you can do this on your own. I've got my fall on the preceding step, and then I pull and swing. And at the end of that, I can lower, of course, and straighten up my sway. And then you would commence the same thing going backwards, right? I would have a fall originating from my head weight, except when I go backwards, we're not falling backwards with our head. It's important that our weight is still, you see my body weight is still falling, it's falling forward, especially if you're a gentleman. It's going to initiate the movement, telling the lady you're about to move, to create a movement in any direction, I suppose. But let's just say we're going backwards. So that is going to occur. The leg will swing back. And again, we're thinking of pulling our body weight. So we want the body weight to be pulled through the step. And then we want that rise at the end. Remember, when you go back on step 4 of a natural turn, there's no foot rise, but there is a leg and a body rise. So we're coming out of that, not down. We're coming out and you're using your body weight to close your feet. You'll find when you first do this, it'll be a bit trippy to do, but it'll also be a little tricky, but you will notice a difference in the quality of your movement, because all of a sudden, if you've had trouble closing your feet, you'll notice now the pulling and the body swing is going to close it for you. And then you'll have control to lower. Then you'll also have the ability to lead and follow better, and of course then you can create the same on backward steps and create the nice pull. Right? Now, when we finish these movements, what you want to do is, Essentially, the hardest thing that I think dancers have when they first correct their balance. Stop looking down. Notice where my eye line is and what it does to my head. So we want to bring our eye line up and our head up, because when I'm talking about the head weight creating that fall, what you must remember is that we're not actually dipping it forward. So one of my biggest problems in dancing is I used to have my head like this, yeah? And then I'd like lift my head up. So then I'd be back here. So we have to have a stable posture. The head sits on the shoulders, right? Cheekbones on top of the shoulders, on top of the hips. That's the posture to start with, right? And as you do that, let the head weight start the movement. Let your leg help the movement by balancing it, okay? And then create your pull and your drive. Now remember, swing closes the feet. That is today's major lesson for you ballroom dancers out there. By the way, this translates to all the swing dancers. So swing dancers are waltz, slow foxtrot, quick step, and Viennese waltz. The tango, we do not have swing, so therefore we don't need to worry about the way that our body closes the feet, because it's actually a different dynamic. Now, if you liked this episode and you thought this was awesome, please like, share, leave a comment below, and visit ballroommastery.tv for more training, because this is awesome bringing it to you. I'll see you in the next episode. Remember to leave me your questions and I will answer them in a live Q&A. Until then, love your dancing and let's master the art of ballroom together.